Hello, this is Liz with Crafty Devotion, and I decided to go ahead and do a tutorial on how I made these gorgeous gift bags. That's all they are, they're gift bags, and these are made with basically hot glue, no sewing. Now, I do have a version that I used that I am actually sewing also, but these are not sewn, they're all hot glue, and one of my goals a lot of times is to provide projects that you can do that don't have sewing. Not everyone has a sewing machine, not everyone enjoys sewing, so hot glue is it for today. So this is how I began. I began with a piece of fabric. This fabric is a cotton sturdy fabric, but it's not real excessively sturdy, but it's like the better quality. So let's say you get a fat quarter and Walmart and they're very thin. Well, let me show you this black fabric. That's what this is. This feels like a slightly thin type of fabric. This one that I have here feels a little sturdier and thicker. So you'll find different grades, but either grade will work because basically a foot wide. This fabric is a foot wide, but the length of this fabric when I bought it off the bolt is I think is it 44 inches? 44 inch. So I'm just using the entire thing I cut. So in other words, if you got a yard of 44-inch fabric, you'd be able to make 3 of these tote bags. And these bags, I'm calling them gift bags, but you can if you do it well enough, you can actually use them for a while as a tote. I think they'd hold up a bit. So what I did is I just folded it in half. I left it folded in half. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually make a tube out of it. So then I folded it over again. Okay, so here is the open part. I just left it folded in half, and there's the open part, and here's the other part. And actually, what I do is I do overlap my seams quite a bit, and this to me is what's going to make it to me a bit sturdier and actually help it to stand up also. So you can make this as wide as you want. Let me see how wide this one is. So this is the bag that I was kind of following about the dimensions of, and this bag is about 10 inches by about almost 8 inches. Mine are coming out closer to 9. So if you put less fabric this way, then you'll have less. And this one I cut it about 11 or 12 inches in length. So that means I'll have room to fold on each side, and it'll come out a nice bag. Now, how much I want to overlap? As you can see, this fabric here, the selvage part is actually not very straight. It doesn't matter. What my goal is that I want to make sure I get glue straight across here, like this, straight across, and then I also can put glue here. This is going to be the inside of your bag. Okay, and then I'm going to put this right on top. So let me show you. So here it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually attach it this way. This is going to go in here, and then this one's going to go on top, and then this part will actually be attached inside. That's how I did mine. But you can actually, like the other one I did, I actually just laid it right on top and glued it. But this one, that's how I decided to do it. And I felt like that would give it a little more sturdiness. For this first part, because I want this to stay really sturdy, I'm going to use fabric tack. And I will use fabric tack and hot glue both on this project. If you want your project to stay strong longer, I suggest you use fabric tack on the entire thing. Fabric tack, and actually fabric tack is a washable glue. And I'm not making mine washable. These are, to me, these are not totes. They're gift bags. Okay, I placed just something underneath because I was feeling like it might seep through because I'm taking a long time explaining. So the fabric, what's good about the fabric tack is you can put it on there and it takes a little bit of time to dry. So it's actually something you can use that is forgivable, because if you put it on, it is tacky. So I actually placed it along most of the edge there. And then later on, if this actually needs more, then I could go along with my hot glue gun. because that's what I'm doing. So I'm just going to fold this, and I'm going to use these ends of the seam to do that. Now for this fabric, all I did was, I love cotton, because cotton, I just tore it. I did not cut it with scissors. I tore the fabric. The fabric tears very well. Okay, can you see that? And now this one is the other side, and I want it to go down here. But you can see how pretty that'll look. That's a great finishing edge without doing much. And if you wish, you can actually put some glue, a little bit of glue along the entire thing here, which I think I'm going to go ahead and do on most of it here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit. I haven't made very many of these. I actually came up with this on my own, so you'll find I'm just lightly putting some there so that it'll stay. Feel like it went down crooked. Hopefully it's not so much that it's seeping through. Okay. Now along this edge here. So this part right here, I wanted it to be, to really stay together. This is one of the weak points in your, well, I guess any place that you place a seam is going to be a weak point in your bag. Now we have a tube. This right here is going to be the bottom of my bag to me. You can decide which side you want to make your bottom. Since I see it off just a little bit, from experience, I learned that I do want it to be kind of straight when I form the bottom. So I'm going to just cut it straight, like, so that they're all, it's not off by much, but it's not, no biggie there. Okay, so now we have a tube. I see a tube that has, and now this seam is going to be my back of my bag. So guess about the right place for it to be. And I'm going to now glue all this together. Okay, any places that I'm actually gluing also between these fabrics, just because I want there to be some substance there. I'm going to glue. Let me put this closer for you right now. I'm going to do just half, and then I'll do a little more. I'll show you. Okay, so you have 4 pieces of fabric. These 2 are back to back. This side is back to back, and I'm gluing them together along the edge here. So it's going to make a sack. But we're going to still work with this sack. And actually right here in this point, I should be using my hot glue, and I'm actually going to do that. Okay, here I go. Now I'm going to use hot glue because I want this to dry quickly. So it actually has both on there. It has some fabric tack and some hot glue on this side. Okay, as you can see, it is now just a sack. There's a hole in here. Nice sturdy stack. Okay. Now what we are going to do here is we're going to take, let me start that over for you. Okay. We're going to come to the bottom of the sack, and we're going to open it up from the bottom so that you can, when you pull from both sides, it forms into a triangle. See, here's the sack. I'm just pulling from both sides, and it becomes a triangle. What we're going to do is we're going to form the bottom of our bag. Now, when you see Pinterest, it tells you to do it differently, but basically, the wider you want it this way, the bigger the triangle. So if you want it really wide, it'll be this wide, then you fold it like this much. It'll become a square. But if you want it long, you make a short one. Okay, so I want it short. I don't want it really long. So I'm going to fold it just a triangle, and I'm going to glue it actually. And this piece here, this is going to all get reinforced. So I'm gluing this fold down first, and then I'm going to decide about, oh, let me see. I think I'm going to take this piece right here and tuck it in. So I leave everything on here. The reason I leave it on here, all of this, these folds and extra fabric down here, it reinforces everything, makes it sturdier. So I'm leaving everything on. And so I decided I want my bag to be long, so I'm just going to go from this corner to this corner. Here we go. I'll measure it after I do this. And now I'm going to fold it over. So that's about how much I'm going to leave it folded. And I will tell you from this corner, where's the ruler? There it is. This is just about 1 1/4 inches from the real tip, not the, just like this right here has a piece of fabric sticking out. Let's fold that in. When you fold in that little piece of fabric from that tip, okay? So I'm going to do more gluing. I'm going to glue this entire little square down. Putting glue, and remember this is going to be reinforced. So there's the glue. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Now, so for this side, and I'm a guesser, so I don't do a lot of things. I just do not do exactly. That's why when I see people sewing these, I'm like, oh, a pattern to me is a suggestion. That's the way I am with everything I do. I don't need exact things. I just kind of make it my own. But this, I'm trying to give you some pointers. So I said it was about 1 1/4. So if you would measure from that tip now to about 1 1/4, that's about right. It's just a guess to me. Just the way I am. Let me see. Isn't that cute? All right. You can go ahead and glue that down too. This is just where you put your seam. It's optional. It's going to end up getting covered up later on with your false bottom there. Okay. All hot glue. Okay, now I'm going to turn it. So this is actually the inside of your bag, and this is where the seam is and everything. And let's flip it over so I can show you the right side, what it looks like. Okay, see that? It has a little pocket there, and this is all glued together now. And then this is where the seam is that you left. Now if you feel like it needs more glue, go ahead and put it there. And this actually, the way I did it now, a little different than my first ones, and my reason being is because I wanted it to have be more solid. So I changed it up a little bit. And now this is your bottom right there. Now on your bottom, if you wish, you can put a piece of fabric over that. You can put a piece of ribbon. You can use fabric tack, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet with that. But as you can see, now you have a squared out bottom. Okay, so this is your bag. Now this part here, this part you can decide what to do with this. Now I really, what I liked from the other two, one I folded inward and one I folded out. And I really liked the way what came out when I folded it out, because then I put some lace along here. And if you want to, you can tatter this if you want a tattered bag, which I would love to, I think I might want to do one of those. but you give it a cuff and you make your cuff as large as you want. This one right here happens to be about 1.5 inches. Here we are to the next part. This is what you need to do. You need to go ahead and glue this down. If you wish, you can cut this even, but I'm going to be placing something over it along here, so I'm not going to do that. I'll probably put lace. That's why I like this fold, because now I can just cover that up without cutting it, without having a seam on the inside either. So what I'm going to do is I am going to glue this down. You can choose to use your hot glue or your fabric tack. Now, for hot glue, I did want to tell you this about hot glue. What I have come up with, because when I first started crafting, I had no idea what to use, and I kept on seeing everyone using hot glue, and when I would use it, it seemed like it would come off. So what I started doing is I started experimenting and buying different types, and this is what I found out. I found out that they sell some stronger glues that are a bit more expensive. This one that I found that works quite well is actually just an Aztec glue, but it is made for only hot glue guns. It's not the multi-temp kind, and to me, I find that that is the glue that sticks and doesn't come off. Now, if you wanted to make this bag washable, you should be using all fabric tack, and so you would have to give it time to dry on the bottom before you go on to certain steps. Some steps you'll need to wait between applying it, and it does soak through the fabric a bit, so you have to be careful how much you use. I do like fabric tack. All right, so now that part's done. So let's go ahead and do the handle. So I'm going to use this, see if I can get this in there. If I can't get this girl squared ribbon in there, then I will use a different ribbon, a satin ribbon. I'm just guessing about how long I want it. All you got to do is make sure you make 2 that are identical in size. Let's see. This is what I used. I have this very large needle, and I actually do not have these in my shop, but I do have some. I have actually quite a few, and they're quite sturdy, and I think it's 50 cents each or something, but if you want one, you have to order it specifically. I might put them in my shop if I get a lot of requests for them. And I have the ribbon, and one more thing. Oh yeah, a pair of sharp, you can use something pointy. So what I did is I used the big giant needle to actually put my ribbon through, and it actually is kind of going through. If you can't use a needle, you can actually use a piece of wire or something, but this is what I used because I have it. Okay, so I just threaded it through that big needle. I decide where I want it. I don't know. You can measure. So what I did is I used this as a guide. So I said, okay, about there, because it ends up about close to the same width. And let me tell you how far it is. This is 3 inches from the edge and 3 inches in between. So 3, 3, 3, and this is actually a larger bag. Let me measure from my edge. So I'm gonna do 3.5 inches from the outside this way, my guess. And then if you notice on the fold, it's a little bit higher than lower. It's not right in the center. The hole's a little bit higher. And since this is tripled over, so what I'm going to do is first I'm going to start a hole with my needle. And I said about 3.5 inches, right? And I'm going to just guess. I would say give yourself about a 1/2 inch there. And, you know, this is just, I'm poking holes in this one. You can actually sew that down if you're sewing, which I might do a few more sewn. I actually have one of these that I made, and I'm going to decorate it. And then I stuck my needle through that hole, and then I twist. So if you have something else that's pointing at a tool that you use for some of your embellishments or whatever, and use that. And so since the edge of the, see if it goes through. So I'm just this is how I did it. So I kind of work at it until I get it through. I make the hole bigger if it needs to be bigger, because the other ribbons I used on my other one were satin, so they don't take up as much room. So I just push it a little deeper and twist, because you can see that it gets warmer. It gets thicker as it goes deeper. Here we go, till I get it through. So I got it through. Now this end right here will get knotted. So I'm gonna put a knot there. See the knot? And now you're gonna do the same thing, but come through this side. And again, measure about 3.5 inches. I am a guesser. You can measure exactly if you wish, but it's going to come through this way because this is going to get knotted. Okay. There we go. I'm going to pull it tight, make my knot on the end. Isn't that cute? I think I should have left it at 3 inches, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna be good. Okay. So I'm gonna go over and do the other side. Okay, my first step of embellishment, I've made a decision and I decided I'm going to use this. Remember, I am using scrap laces, things that I have little bits of or I have in my scrap pile, but I don't have a lot of. This one actually happens to be a vintage piece that I took off of a bed skirt, and I used most of it in another project, and I have just enough to wrap around this. So I am going to just glue that down, and what I decided to do is put it down, and I'll probably I'm going to put another color on top of it right now, but we'll see. Maybe I'll change my mind. And it looks like I might need to place something over this when I'm done here. So when something comes out and it's actually just totally like off the pattern, you can see how that's off the pattern. That's why you want to start close to the center. That way you can place something on top of it that will take away from that, and you won't be able to see that it's off like that. So if I decide to make, I can make a bow and just place a little bow there. See how simple? Right there, which I might do. I might place a little bow on this side and maybe a flower on the other side. I'm putting on the backs a simple embellishment, on the fronts I'm putting a bigger embellishment. So many times when I'm going to put a large embellishment on the front, then I'll choose the front where the seams are because I know it's all going to get covered up. So that is what I'm doing, and I think I have this one, but I think that's not going to work. Let's see. I think I'm going to use the same here that I used on one of my other bags, and I was thinking maybe up like this, or should it go this way? I'm going to go this way, and this one is wide enough to cover all of that. You see that? covers everything. But I'm going to start from this side because I want it about the center here, so that whatever I place on here, if it doesn't meet up, then we can actually just cover it with some sort of embellishment. So that's what I think about when I'm doing things, is I think about, well, how am I going to be able to cover it up. Decisions, and I decided I was going to make a tassel, and I went and I got pieces of scraps from different places. For example, this piece right here is actually a piece of cotton like seam binding, and that is all tattered. It has thread in it and everything, and it actually was removed from this piece of lace that I was thinking about using on this project, and I changed my mind. I still might use it, but it was here and I pulled it off, and that's going to be some of my, and as well as a piece of the lace that we had used earlier, and just this one I used in my, when I made the kits for my lace dress. So this also. So I'm just grabbing pieces, and I know it can't be too long, so I'm just gonna it's just out of, this is actually a tea-dyed rose that I made out of a piece of scrap fabric, and I had made it before. I did make it specifically for this project, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to use things that I have already made in this project, and these are the pieces. I had just folded them over. I'm doing that. I think I'm going to cut this one and tear it upward. Make them a little smaller. You can do that to anything you want. See how thick that is? I'm using it as a tassel this time. I think when I used it last time, I used it as a slip. So these, I might be able to do the same thing, but I'm not sure if I want to. I am going to trim them all for sure, and then I can decide that afterwards. And I know they're going to need to be a little shorter because they're going to drag on the bottom. I have a couple of more things I picked up. This right here is actually from a blouse. I saw a blouse at a discount store. Let me show you it. And this was all around the blouse, and I just loved it because it had, I know how to macrame also, and that's something I learned in junior high, and I made a few pot holders and things like that. So this is actually like knotting, a macrame type knotting, and it was on the, like the shoulders, all the way around the shoulders of a like a peasant blouse type. And so I ended up having a good yard of it, and I just loved it. So I'm going to use this, just trying to show you different ways that you can actually find things. And this is actually elastic, like an elastic. Maybe what I'll do is I'll make it go around. I think I'll trim it a little. It's kind of thick, so I kind of don't want it that thick. I don't want to be seen that much. Oh, now look what I did. Separated them. Oh well. They're going to be placed like this then. Okay. Just going to place some lots of glue there. And I will make sure that they are 3 or 4. Decided I was going to do that. And do you see how this one on top brings back in the colors that are up here of that? Then I had this, and I was thinking of putting that. just a piece of a tassel trim that I have. And I think I'm going to place that on top also. No, that'll cover it. No, I think I'm not going to put that. I don't want it to cover it. Maybe I'll put it underneath, or maybe I'll put it on the other side. Let's see. I decided to just put a bow together. I used the scrap of this lace here. I added another scrap piece that I wrapped around, and I used this beautiful vintage piece that I hoard. I hoard some of these vintage pieces. I'm just like that. So I'll just use a little to embellish. Oops, I didn't tie that correctly, so tie it tighter. And I just made a bow. Gonna place it right there where the seam is at, so that just like that. And I may put like an embellishment over it, like a piece of bling or something, a pearl, maybe one of those button things. Maybe I'll put that up here. So it's just supposed to look like a sort of like a bow, messy bow. Arranging it before it finishes drying. Just a little embellishment. And after you do all this, you can always then decide to trim things the way you want them to look. So this one I actually trimmed it that way. So I might do. Okay, this one will look cute. I'm just going to place a little flower on top of it. I'm actually just using what I see around my station, things that I have here from other projects that I haven't put away because I am a messy girl. And let's see what else I find in here. I have one more of these. I think I will place it right here. And this is just to make it look like a faux button, and it's not really a button. Maybe I'll put it. I think I'll put it sideways actually because it'll fit better. So that's what I want. I would like to put a button there, but you know what? I don't want to go look for buttons. So you can go look for a button, and it's more of a faux look of a button because that's so simple and sweet. I like that. And then this one, let's see, what else should we do on this side? I think on this side I'm going to place a pearl in there. See if I find one. Or should I put like a rose? Like the rose? Let me find one of these little thingies. That one right there. That will finish off that center, even though that center looks so cute because it looks like of various colors. I'm going to stick this in there. Just going to hold it till it dries. There we go. Alright, I'm all done with the embellishing. This is all I'm going to put on it. I'm not going to add more. I'm just going to show you how I made the bottom cardboard to put inside. Okay, so make sure if you want to make sure if you just have pieces of fabric that you keep a piece that you can use to wrap the cardboard in. And I have like this thick cardboard here. You can use any kind of cardboard, but I kind of guesstimate about how wide this is. I always say the word guesstimate. I guess at everything. Just me. So it is about guesstimate 2 1/4, and so cut it to the size that you want. I'm a guesser. Like it. If you want it thicker, make it thicker. About the length you want. Looks like I need to cut off about that much. Like I said, I just guess. Okay, looks like it's pretty close. Might be too wide still. Trim it a little bit more. Again, this adds sturdiness and also helps to keep that bag open. So normally I would fold it all over and glue it all on one side, but I just tested it and it actually looks good just as it is. So I'm just going to close up these edges and glue them together. But it fits perfect in there. And so what I'm going to do is I want to glue it down, and I think I'm going to actually just put some glue on, hot glue. On the other ones I actually put fabric tack on it. I'm only going to do half because I want to be able to hold it and put it in, and I don't want the glue to get anywhere else. Then I will hold that down. Then I'll add glue to the other side. It's kind of flexible. Oh, look, I just folded it out.
Mom, I just hurt my leg. I better be more careful. Mom, I'm sorry for yelling at you.
You're sorry for yelling at me? I'm glad you're sorry.
Yeah. When I did this.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said sorry. And that's how the truth be.
Mm-hmm. Right, I just got another bright idea. And if you remember on the bottom here where it has these openings, I just realized you can use ribbon down here and then stick the edges of the ribbon inside. And that's what I'm going to do. We could use a wider ribbon, but this is ribbon I have out. It's fun making this. I recommend making them. I think I'm glad I joined the group, and a lot of times I learn from difficulties. I'm able to overcome when I don't have something, and then I can share that with you. So we're about nearing the end, so make sure that if you are interested in any of the things that I carry in my shop, head on over to my Etsy store, and also you can share my videos with your friends. So cute, two-sided, slightly different look on each side. I'm actually leaning towards, I really like the way this one came out. Just a simple little bow. Like it. A little more complicated tassel. This is Liz with Crafty Devotion. I hope you were inspired by my project, and you will give it a try yourself.